Okay, these problems might look familiar because we've already done them before, but we're going to use a different method. If you prefer this method, you can use it to solve these problems. So this is what we call the proportion method. So first off, we're given the radius. So right away we realize we can calculate the circumference. The circumference is 2 pi r, as we've learned before. So c equals 2 pi times 4, or 8 pi. And what we do is set up a proportion. We know that 360 degrees corresponds to that circumference of 8 pi. And in this case, though, we're using 80 degrees as our measurement. So the idea is if 360 degrees is 8 pi, what is 80 degrees? And we don't know, we're trying to find that, we'll call it x. So this is a proportion. If 360 is to 8 pi, 80 is to what? And there's a few different ways to solve proportions. One way is, if you can find the way to get from 360 to 80, like divide by 2, divide by 3, you can just do it to both and get it. But a common way is to cross multiply and divide. So when we cross multiply, this region, that times that, equals 8 pi times 80. So we're going to say 360 times x equals 80 times 8 pi. And now it's just a matter of solving for x. So 80 times 8, 8 times 8 is 64. So this would be 640 pi equals 360x. And then we'll divide both sides by 360. So we're going to get x equals 640 pi over 360. And once again, if you are allowed to use your calculator, you could just plug this in. But if we're not, we're going to simplify this. So we can get rid of the 10, the 0 in the end, because we're essentially dividing by 10. So then we get 64 pi over 36. These are both even, so that makes it really easy to see that we can divide them both by 2. So you get 32 pi over 18. They're still both even, so we can divide by 2 again, top and bottom, get 16 pi over 9, and this is really where we're ending. There's no number that goes into both of these, so this is the arc length. And this is the same answer we got the other way we did it, but again, if you prefer this method, you're more than welcome to use it. Let's see this again. So again, here I am, I have a radius, and as soon as I have a radius, I realize I can calculate a circumference, 2 pi r. So circumference in this case is 2 pi times 12, or 24 pi. And again, the circumference represents the full sort of perimeter of the circle. So we say, okay, so that 24 pi corresponds to 360 degrees of the circle. And in this case, I know the arc length is 6 pi. I want to find the other angle. So we have our distances on top and our angles on the bottom. It doesn't matter which as long as you're consistent. So this is 6 pi, and I want to find x here. So if 24 pi length goes to 360 degrees, this is 6 pi length, how many degrees does that go to? Now we could cross multiply and divide on this one as well and do the same thing, but we also might recognize from 24 to 6, we're multiplying by a quarter, right? 6 is a quarter of 24. So we can say, what is 360 times a quarter? This is another way to solve proportions, because 24 times a quarter gets 6, 360 times a quarter, that will give us our answer. So 360 times a quarter, you might be able to do this in your head, 360 over 4, so that goes to 180 over 2, which goes to 90 over 1, which is just 90. So it's 90 degrees. So this, again, is another way to do the same problem we've already done. Your choice if you want to use proportions or the equation. Just be careful with how you set them up, but it's the same general principle. So until next time, I am Derek Genova. Have a delightful day.